Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care. Now, here's your host, founder, caregiver, and CEO, Suzanne Newman.
And welcome back to our final segment with our wonderful Lori LeBay from AlzheimerSpeaks.com. And we have been talking about her story, why she started Alzheimer's Speaks, and all of the tools and the resources available. And Lori, it's been such an honor to have you with this hour. It's been awesome.
It's flying by quick.
I know it is. I know it. It's amazing how fast when we get going on a conversation like this. So you are obviously somebody that has been a pioneer in many ways. And I want to talk a little bit about a program that you have in our last segment that's called a Dementia Map. And that's kind of interesting. And what is it? And what is it? How does it help?
So Dementia Map is a global resource directory that I co-founded with Dave Wiedrich, who has the Memory Cafe directories for 5 different countries. There's, I think, close to 1,300 of those now that people can search. But this concept was a dream of mine for over 40 years. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And it really saddens me that large organizations haven't done this. This is such a need to connect families and professionals to services, products, and tools at all levels. But the way healthcare is established is we have our government agencies, we have our nonprofits, and then we have our for-profits. And our for-profits are always viewed as bad and evil. And the nonprofits and the government agencies work together a little more. Now that has changed.
And they don't get back to people in time, and they're not timely, and they're not.
Well, they're deep. They're big websites. And even like my website, Alzheimer's Speaks, I had to redo it because there was just too much in there and it wasn't easy to find. And so, I talk with people around the globe, and the messaging is always the same. We need help. Where do we find support? They love the internet, but they're really tired of giving their personal information away. They don't want to get scammed. They don't want to get hacked. They don't want to be bothered. And they just want to be able to mine information. And, Google has done us all a wonderful, in some ways. But if you Google something, if you even know what you're looking for, and that's 99% of the problem. When you first get a diagnosis, you don't even know what you're looking for. You get 3 pages of paid ads. That doesn't mean that that's going to serve you the best, or it's in your area, or, whatever.
Sure.
And so Dementia Map, we have basically 4 different categories. We've got the resource directory. We have a calendar of events. We have a glossary of terms, and then we have a blog. And we wanted it to be really simple for people to use. So we don't have any moving parts. There's nothing flashy and shining. A lot of times there's the slider bars and stuff. But we know people with dementia are easily distracted. We know their care partners, if they're family or professional, they're exhausted right now.
They don't have time.
And they're tired. And so we needed to be able to have something that was specific. So we have 150 categories that people can search. And we've broken that into 7 specific categories where they can break things down.
Wow.
They can search by location, 5 miles to 200 miles, or city, state, and country, or all over the world. And that's another paradigm shift that I really wanted to work on, was getting people to understand everything does not have to be in your backyard anymore.
No, it doesn't.
And through COVID, I think more and more families understood that, but I still can't tell you how many corporations don't get that. They just want what's in their backyard. And there are so many resources, many of them free out there, that people can tap into. So they will find things like one of the stories I love is called the Footbar Walker. It was made by 2 friends for 2 friends. And the woman, it was Peggy and George White, who needed a walker. They needed help to be able to keep him at home. And I think they had been married like 60 years. And George was the one using the walker. And Peggy said, I just don't think I can keep him home much longer. I'm hurting him and I'm hurting me, transferring him, getting him up to that walker. And I'm throwing his arm out, I'm throwing my back and my neck out. So their friends, Nancy and Gary, were visiting, and Gary is not an architect. Gosh, I'm going to go brain dead. He's an engineer. So he went, they bought a walker and he made an add-on to it. So on top, there's just like a handlebar that the care partner holds onto. And then there's a little flip down lever that the care partner stands on, and a person up to 350 pounds can pull themselves up. It's
amazing.
And then they had to fight to get a code to get it covered because it was viewed kind of as a foo-foo item. There are tons of things like this happening where people have seen an issue, just like I have, just like you have, and said, I'm going to try to make a difference, but nobody's pulling them together. And that's what Dementia Map really tries to do. So our activity section has all kinds of great stuff that really helped people, especially during COVID, when all of a sudden there's no adult day, there's no programming for people, and they're just feeling lost. So there's a program called like Music Men's Minds, and those are licensed music therapists providing free therapy sessions like 3 times a week that people.
That's amazing.
And people, some people sit and hum, some people get up and dance, one guy picked up an instrument after 20 years and started playing. I mean, there's just these beautiful, beautiful stories, or all authors that has, they've got, I think, over 350 authors of all different types of genres that come from the perspective, been there, done that.
Yeah.
We have a section on housing, we have a section on support services, we have a section on products, we have a section on speakers and things like that, media. So you can dive pretty deep on this. And then the calendar, that's one of the biggest complaints. People go like, where do I find information? And people, a lot of times, they just don't have the money to purchase this webinar and do this and do that. Sure. And so they can go on there, and many of these things are free. Teepa Snow, who's internationally known,
love her,
has tons of stuff on there. I've got programs on there. Lots of people do, and that is constantly changing. So we want everything kind of from a ice cream social in your neighborhood to international conferences on there. And then we have the glossary of terms, because you don't know what you don't know till you don't know it.
You sure don't.
Yep. And so we have just short little 3-sentence summaries for words. And then if some of our members have written an article, we'll link that too. And then we've got a blog section as well. And everyone can be part of this. So if you are listening and you know of a great service, pass it on, because they can sign up for free to let people know about their services, products, or tools, or they can do an enhanced program, either our pro or our featured, where they get more marketing and banner ads and things like that. They can write more articles. But we just wanted something that was simple for people to maneuver through and be able to take their time. So people can search by these categories. They can search by dots on the map. So if they really are looking for something specific, or they can look through cards that we have and just scroll through all of those. So we tried to really look at different learning styles and the way people, digest information. And our feedback has been wonderful from professionals that have thought, well, I don't need this. This is great for families. Yeah. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this existed, or thank God, gosh, you told me this. I'm going to have to do some mining on this, because there is stuff I don't know. But I think so often we get in this place of, well, I know what's in my area, and so that's all I need to know. That's all there is. Well, that's not the world we live in anymore.
No. And I think one of the things you're saying, which is we're really at the forefront of a term that we in the content world need to embrace more, and that is collaboration. I think everyone that does they all have their specialty. Like I'm hearing all this stuff that you have, and it's like, and part of me says, I need that on Answers for Elders. Well, guess what? We can connect to you. We can provide that resource because we all have our own, niche in the industry, and certainly our own centered desire to help the families that are dealing with, Alzheimer's disease. And, it's like what we talk about a lot before is the fact that, you and I have kind of been we've been the 800-pound gorillas out there in the podcast world. We've got a lot of content, and the good news about that is that we can now share that information between each other and help everyone as greater connectiveness, creating more synergy. And I think that's the really great thing about what you're doing is bringing all these resources together in one kind of, tapestry.
Yeah. And it's hard because there was a point where I actually called Mark, who was the head of ADI, Alzheimer's Disease International at one time, and said, I think I have to move because the US does not get this collaboration thing. And he was roaring. And I said, Mark, I'm serious. And he's like, you really don't understand why, do you? And I said, no. And he said, Lori, over here, we've always worked for the greater good. Your country was started because people wanted to be proprietary. And that just opened up the world to me in terms
Isn't that
of
interesting.
Yeah. But it is changing and it is getting better, but we've got a long ways to go.
Yes, we do. And, with your help, obviously, we're going to make it a better place. And so, Lori, thank you so much for being with us this hour. How do we reach you?
Again, really simple. Just go to alzheimersspeaks.com, 2 S's in the middle, and you can find all of our resources, and you can reach out and contact or donate or whatever you'd like to do.
Well, and I just want you to know what a joy it is to have reconnected with you for this last while. And you've made such a difference in our industry. And I am so honored to know you and looking forward to maybe seeing you back again real soon.
I would love to. And thank you. You are making a huge difference as well. And it's always nice to talk to like-minded people.
Yes, absolutely. And to each and every one of you, again, you can go find more information about Alzheimer's. Trust me, it's a great resource. Go to alzheimersspeaks.com. And until next week, till we drop another episode, be good to each other. We at Answers for Elders thank you for listening. Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.